Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, Bitcoin is facing a bearish MACD cross on the daily chart, something we haven't had to worry about in over 2 months. The last time this happened, a correction of nearly 30% occurred, and Bitcoin set lower lows to continue the bear trend that we found ourselves in. A majority of the longer-term technicals seem to be pointing bullish for Bitcoin, so in today's video, we're going to be breaking down this daily chart MACD cross and trying to come to a conclusion about whether or not it's actually going to cause a correction of importance in the Bitcoin market. Guys, we've got a lot of analysis to get into in today's video, so if you do enjoy today's video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps out the channel when you do that, and I would be very appreciative if you did. But without much further ado, guys, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Guys, before we dive on into it, I do have to address the elephant in the room, and that is that, yes, my coffee mug, it does say mermaid at heart. Guys, don't judge me. I am a mermaid at heart. No, actually, no, seriously, believe me. I realize we have a new camera because this is the second time I'm recording this video because the camera decided to record double audio, so I sounded like I was working for ESPN there for a second. So, yeah, we're going to have to re-record this video, so hopefully you guys enjoy the video. If you do, hit that like button, please. This one took a lot of work. Guys, there's something we need to address right here out the gate, and that is that, yes, there are a lot of bullish technicals on Bitcoin, namely out on the weekly chart. For example, we have this weekly chart MACD cross coming in here in the next few days when the weekly chart updates. Guys, I understand that there are a lot of bullish technicals on Bitcoin right now, but at the same time, we do need to make sure that we understand that there is a bearish MACD cross coming in on the daily chart. And if we look at the history on that, then we're going to see typically, when Bitcoin has a bearish MACD cross, as we saw back over here in November, and back over here in September, and back over here in August, that normally a crash is to follow. This MACD chart cross saw a 27% correction, this one saw about a 24% correction, and this one in August saw about a 20% correction. It's not an insignificant technical, so please don't think I'm trying to spread FUD when I say that it is important, because Bitcoin finds itself in a very precarious situation right now. As you guys can see, we have the 200 daily simple moving average charted up here, and Bitcoin needs to get above this. In fact, this is one of the most important technicals right now. I'm going to be talking about the big three that you need to be focusing on here in a little bit. This is one of them. As you guys will know, some of you guys have been following the channel for over 2 years, and you will know I have been talking about this technical for a very long time. It's because it's very important. As you guys can see, in bear markets, Bitcoin tests it as major resistance. During bull markets, Bitcoin tests it as major support. It is a level that Bitcoin needs to get above to be in a bull market, and it's one of the last levels that Bitcoin has not gotten above. We've managed to rally above the 20 daily exponential moving average, as you can see, and also above the 20 weekly exponential moving average, which shows up right there. Bitcoin is above those major technicals, and it needs to stay above them, but the last one that Bitcoin needs to get above is the 200 daily simple moving average. So where does the MACD come in with that? Well, guys, the MACD crossing bearish is actually antithetical to what we want to happen. We want Bitcoin to rally just another maybe $500 to $1,000 and consolidate there all the way through the halving. That's totally fine. I have no problem with Bitcoin trading sideways at 95 for the next 4 months. I'm perfectly okay with that, but I want to see Bitcoin get above the 200 daily simple moving average. So how do we get there? Well, guys, at this point, a bearish MACD cross is going to happen. There's pretty much nothing that the chart could do to prevent it from happening. Even if Bitcoin crosses bearish and then immediately crosses bullish again, the MACD is going to cross bearish. But that's not actually a bad thing because, guys, Bitcoin has been in an uptrend here for the last several weeks. We're going on 35 days. Bitcoin's up 35%. We need a little bit of a correction anyway. So if the MACD crosses bearish, that's not the end of the world because the MACD could very easily cause Bitcoin to pull back here to around $7,800, which we'll be talking about in a second, and then we very well may bounce from there, rallying up to this 200 daily simple moving average and breaking through it in the next few months, maybe later on into February. Now, guys, I don't want Bitcoin to get below the daily and the weekly chart 20 EMA, but if Bitcoin falls just a little bit below it and gets support at $7,800, that wouldn't be a horribly bad break of that level because both of those exponential moving averages are very strong levels of support. But if we bring out our VPVR, we're going to find something, and that is that $7,800 is also a very strong level of support. In fact, sitting around $7,800 to $8,000 is the VPVR climax. That's where the most support on the chart is if you look back with a year of price action history. So if this daily chart MACD cross does come to fruition, which at this point it's almost certainly going to, Bitcoin following that would probably come down to around $7,800 to $8,000 and hopefully trade sideways or bounce from there and rally back up to the 200 daily simple moving average, which is trending to the downside, and then get above it right around the time the halving happens, and then we'll be able to blast off from there. The reason we're making this video is because I want to explain to you guys that just because there is some bearishness coming in on Bitcoin, that does not mean by any stretch of the imagination that that's a bad thing, okay? Bearishness on Bitcoin is actually a good thing in certain circumstances, and right now, Bitcoin does need to have a correction because we've been rallying for too long. It actually works out pretty well because this MACD cross might cause Bitcoin to move sideways into the downside for the next 2 weeks or so, maybe even less time than that, but then you know what's going to happen out on the weekly chart MACD MACD is going to come in, it's going to cross bullish, and then we're going to be off to the races. Because if you look at the history on Bitcoin, whenever there's a bullish cross on the MACD on the weekly chart, it almost invariably starts a new bull market. So it's really nothing to be worried about. As you guys know, the longer term technicals, the weekly chart being longer than the daily chart, longer term technicals normally trump and override shorter term technicals. So what I think is going to happen here is that Bitcoin is going to have a correction for another 7 days or so, give or take however long, less than 2 weeks probably. Bitcoin's going to correct for a little while, come down here, get support around 78 to 8,000, maybe even $8,200, who knows. We're going to let the bears get their day, we're going to let the bulls cool off, and then we're going to see that MACD chart come in and cross bullish on the weekly chart, and it's going to rally Bitcoin once again. It's very important that you guys understand that bullishness and bearishness on Bitcoin are two sides of the same coin. They're both development in Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. You can make money in both directions by longing and shorting, and it's actually very important for uptrends that there is bearishness and for downtrends that there is bullishness. If the bears are in control for too long, then the bulls are going to come in and rally the market again, and if the bulls are in control for too long, then the bears are going to come in and crash the market again. It's important that when we're having uptrends like we have for the last month and more, that we have a little bit of correction, we lock in those gains, and that the bears don't get all of that energy pent up and up and up and up and up, and then 3 months from now, we come crashing down. It's good that we have little mini rallies along the way. Like imagine you're in a relationship, and let's say you're married, and every single time that something bad happens, maybe you and your wife or your husband disagree with what kind of furniture you should have, or you disagree with where you want to go to eat. If you guys don't discuss that for 10 years, and there's all this resentment building and building and building and building and building, eventually one of you is going to break, and you're going to have a big argument, and then you're going to get divorced. If you instead had all of those little mini arguments along the way, then you would have released all that tension, and 10 years later, you'd probably still be happily married. The same thing is true for Bitcoin. If you are going to see Bitcoin sustain a rally, it needs to have corrections. That's what we're seeing here, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's very healthy. So I want to break that mindset of whenever Bitcoin's going down, it's bad, because that's just not true. So guys, that's my idea of what's going to happen here. Bitcoin's going to have this cross. We're going to pull back a little bit, and it's going to be healthy, and at the end of the day, Bitcoin is going to continue this uptrend. So long as Bitcoin doesn't make a lower low below around $6,900, I'm perfectly content with the way the market looks right now. I'm perfectly happy, and I am investing all the way to the bank, or all the way to my private wallet, I guess is the new term. Anyway, guys, like I said, we had to record this video twice, so I'm going to go ahead and go to full screen because, guys, there's something I want to say, and it's thank you. You know, I say this a lot, but I want to say it again. This new camera, this new microphone, they didn't come from nowhere. They came from you guys. And, you know, it really reminds me of a story that I tell people a lot. And all the way back when we had 7 subscribers on the YouTube channel, I was sitting on a stone bench at Santa Fe College, and I was looking at the YouTube analytics, and we just gone from 5 subscribers to 7 subscribers within the last 24 hours. And I thought that was so cool. That meant that 7 people wanted to watch my videos. I was like, what? Why? They're terrible. That's what was going through my head. But nevertheless, 7 of you guys did for some reason. And I decided at that moment that I would never say I did this. I would never say I got 100,000 subscribers, or I made $1 million, or I got 100,000 views, or whatever. I decided that I would never say I. And the reason is because I didn't build it on my own. There's 30,700 and so subscribers of this channel, and only maybe about 15,000 of those are fake accounts of mine. I'm kidding, by the way, for those of you who don't realize that. It's actually only about 7,000, but nevertheless, seriously, all of those subscribers, those aren't me. So I've always said we, because I didn't build this alone. And people along the way over the last 2.5 years, they say, Jeb, what do you mean we? You're alone. Even before we had Taylor, people would say, we, why are you saying we, Jeb? And I said we because I didn't do it on my own. You guys helped. And it's the same thing with this microphone and this camera. We were able to buy this new microphone and increase our audio production value. We bought this new camera and increased our video production value. Now we just got to find a more attractive host who actually knows what he's talking about, and the channel will be great. But guys, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank all of you guys for what we've been able to do. This new camera, this new microphone, it's very rewarding to be able to produce videos that finally I am very proud to say that we made. Myself, Taylor, and 30,000 of you guys. So I do want to thank you guys for that. And also, guys, before we wrap it up, I do want to mention we're recording on a Sony a6400. If any of you tech and camera nerds want to tell me in the comment section down below any tips and tricks, feel absolutely free. I have spent so much time finagling with this camera, and I finally got it all set up correctly, but it is a little bit daunting. There's 30 pages of menu, so if you guys have any tips for me, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. But anyway, guys, that is pretty much going to wrap it up for today's video. I do first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, though, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.